In the bruised twilight over the Nevada desert, a single F-22 Raptor sliced through the sky, its contrail curling like a question mark against the fatting sun. The jet's sleek, angular form shimmered, a predator in stealth, but tonight it wasn't alone. Unseen, a second aircraft shadowed its path, its vapor trail faint, almost ghostly, weaving through the high-altitude cirrus. The Raptor's pilot, Captain Elias Hawk Navarro, squinted at his radar. A blip flickered, then vanished. Ghost 1, this is Hawk. Confirm contact bearing 270 Angels 40, he radioed, voice taut. Static crackled. No response. His wingman, Lieutenant Tara Viper Cade, scanned the horizon, her instincts prickling. The desert below was a silent witness, vast and unforgiving as the mystery deepened. Viper, a veteran pilot with 12 years in the cockpit, was no stranger to skepticism. Her peers called her Vapor behind her back, mocking her for the crash that ended her combat career. A mid-air collision during a red flag exercise, blamed on her, though she swore the telemetry was wrong. Now, relegated to test flights, she flew a modified F-35 Lightning II, its matte gray skin scarred from years of service. Her call sign, Viper, was a nod to her Texan roots, where rattlesnakes struck without warning. She didn't care for the nickname's irony, she cared for the sky. Tonight, her mission was routine, test new radar evasion tech. But the ghost signal wasn't in the brief. Hawk's voice broke her thoughts. Viper, you seeing this? It's like she's dancing with us. The she was deliberate, a jab at Viper's presence in their boys' club. She ignored it, eyes locked on her HUD. The blip reappeared closer now, mimicking her maneuvers, her pulse quickened. Hawk, it's not a glitch, it's intentional. Check your 6. The radio hissed. Negative, Viper, just clouds. But she saw it, a faint shimmer like heat rising off asphalt. The desert silence roared in her ears. Viper's mind raced back to 2017, the crash. Her wingman, Major Isaac Spectre Ruiz, died when their jets collided. The inquiry pinned it on her, citing pilot error. She'd spent years rebuilding, proving her worth in simulators and test hops, but the stigma clung like damp rot. Now this ghost jet felt personal, its vapor trail a signature she couldn't place. She banked left, testing it. The shadow followed, precise, almost reverent. Her breath caught. Spectre. She whispered half to herself. The sky, vast and indigo, held no answers, but its weight pressed on her chest. Someone or something was flying with her, and it knew her moves. The radio crackled again. Viper, you're chasing ghosts. Focus on the mission, Hawk snapped, his tone sharp with dismissal. She clenched her jaw, fingers tightening on the stick. The F-35 hummed beneath her, its engines a low growl. She wasn't chasing ghosts, she was being hunted. The shadow jet's vapor trail twisted, forming a pattern she recognized. A fallen formation, a tribute to lost pilots. Her heart thudded. Spectre had taught her that maneuver, a silent salute in the sky. Was this him? Or something else? She pushed the throttle, climbing to 45,000 feet, the desert blurring below. The shadow matched her, relentless. Ground control chimed in. Ghost flight, this is Nellie's, report status. Viper's voice was steady, betraying none of her unease. Nellie's Ghost 2, unidentified contact shadowing my position, request AWACS support. The controller paused, then responded, negative, Ghost 2, no contacts on scope, check your systems. Viper's eyes narrowed. Her systems were clean. She glanced at the insignia on her flight suit, a coiled rattlesnake, its fangs bared. It was her father's, a Vietnam-era pilot who taught her to trust her gut. She did now. Hawk Raptor pulled alongside, its titanium skin glinting under the moon. Viper, you're spooking yourself, probably a drone. His condescension stung, but she didn't bite. Instead, she rolled her jet, testing the shadow again. It mirrored her, a perfect echo. Hawk, you ever see a drone fly a fallen formation? Silence. For the first time, Hawk's bravado faltered. Say again, he muttered. Viper didn't repeat herself. She didn't need to. The shadow jet was closing, its outline barely visible, a sleek obsidian shape, like an F-22 but older, worn. Its vapor trail curled tighter, almost beckoning. Viper's mind flashed to Spectre's last transmission. Stay sharp, Viper, the sky never lies. She replayed those words for years, haunted by their weight. Now they felt like a warning. She checked her radar again, nothing, but her eyes told a different story. The shadow jet was real, its presence a quiet challenge. She spoke into the radio, voice low. "Nellie's Ghost 2, I'm engaging the contact." Hawk's protest came fast. "Viper, stand down, you're not cleared." But she was already banking hard. Her F-35 screaming through the thin air, chasing the ghost that refused to fade. The desert below was a sea of shadows, the mountains jagged teeth against the horizon. Viper's jet shuddered as she pushed it to its limits, the G-forces pressing her into the seat. The shadow jet stayed just ahead, elusive but deliberate, leading her deeper into the night. Her breath was shallow, her focus absolute. This wasn't just a test flight anymore. It was a reckoning. The sky, vast and eternal, held her truth, and she would find it no matter the cost. The shadow jet banked sharply, its silhouette cutting through the moonlight like a blade. Viper followed, her F-35 straining against the high-altitude turbulence. The desert's vastness below seemed to pulse, as if the earth itself held its breath. Her HUD flickered, the ghost signal now a steady pulse, taunting her with its clarity. "Nellie's Ghost 2. Contact is solid, bearing 290, speed Mach 1.2, she reported, her voice calm but edged with steel. The controller's response was hesitant. "Ghost 2, we still have no visual, you're alone up there." Viper's lips twitched. Alone? She wasn't so sure. Hawk Raptor flanked her closer now, his earlier mockery replaced by unease. "Viper, what the hell are you chasing? There's nothing on my scope." She didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on the shadow, its vapor trail weaving a pattern only she seemed to see. The fallen formation wasn't just a maneuver, it was a message etched in the sky like a signature. Spectre had flown it with her during training, a silent vow to honor the fallen. Was this his ghost, or a trick of her mind desperate for redemption? The radio buzzed with static, then a new voice cut through. "Ghost Flight, this is AWACS Sentinel. We're tracking you but no secondary contacts. Recommend RTB. Return to base." Viper's jaw tight. She wasn't turning back, not now. Her fingers danced over the controls, activating the F-35's infrared sensors. A faint heat signature appeared, fleeting but real. "Sentinel, Ghost 2, I have a thermal lock. Engaging." Hawk's voice erupted. "Viper, you're out of line. Stand down." But she was already committed, her jet roaring as she closed the gap. The shadow jet rolled, its wings catching the starlight, revealing a weathered airframe, an older model, perhaps an F-15, its paint chipped and faded. Viper's breath hitched. Spectre had flown an F-15 before upgrading to the Raptor. Was this his bird, somehow aloft? The thought was absurd, but the sky didn't lie. She matched its turn, her G-suit squeezing her legs as the forces mounted. The shadow accelerated, pulling her into a steep climb. The air thinned, her jet's engine screaming in protest. "Viper, talk to me," Hawk said, his tone softer now, almost pleading. She ignored him, her focus absolute. The shadow jet leveled off, its vapor trail curling into a perfect spiral, a salute. Her chest tightened. "Spectre, if that's you, give me a sign," she whispered, her voice lost in the cockpit's hum. The shadow jet banked again, slower this time, as if inviting her to follow. She did, the desert's silence swallowing her doubts. The sky was her witness, and it demanded her truth. The chase stretched into the night, the shadow jet leading Viper through a labyrinth of clouds. Her F-35's cockpit was a cocoon of glowing dials and muted alarms, but her world narrowed to the ghost ahead. Its vapor trail shimmered, a silver thread against the black, guiding her like a beacon. She felt the weight of her past, every snide remark, every sidelong glance from pilots who doubted her. They'd called her reckless, a liability, but she'd never stopped flying. The sky was her sanctuary, and this shadow, whatever it was, knew her soul. Hawk's voice crackled again, quieter now. "Viper, I'm with you. What's the play?" She blinked, surprised. His tone had shifted, no trace of mockery, just focus. "Stay on my wing," she said. "If this goes south, cover me." He didn't argue. His Raptor slid into formation, its sleek form a dark mirror to her F-35. The shadow jet slowed, its outline clearer now, an F-15, unmistakably, its wings scarred from years of service. Viper's heart pounded. Spectre's jet had borne those same marks, battle-worn but proud. "Ghost 2, Nellies, you're deviating from the test grid. Return to course," the controller barked. Viper ignored it. The shadow jet rolled lazily, almost playful, then dove, pulling her toward the desert floor. She followed, her jet shuddering as she pushed its limits. The altimeter spun downward 20,000 feet, 15,000, 10,000. The desert rushed up, a patchwork of sand and shadow. "Viper, pull up," Hawk shouted. She didn't. The shadow jet leveled off at 5,000 feet, skimming the dunes, its vapor trail a comet's tail in the moonlight. She matched its speed, her hands steady despite the adrenaline. The shadow's maneuvers were precise, almost intimate, mirroring the drills she and Spectre had flown together. She could almost hear his voice. "Trust the sky, Viper. It's the only thing that doesn't judge." Her eyes stung, but she blinked it away. The shadow jet climbed again, spiraling upward, its trail forming a perfect arc, a memorial loop. Viper followed, her breath syncing with the jet's rhythm. Nellie's Ghost 2. Contact is executing a fallen formation. Request clearance to pursue. The controller's pause was heavy. Ghost 2 negative. No contacts confirmed. RTB immediately. Viper's lips pressed into a thin line. She wasn't turning back. The shadow jet banked west toward Area 51's restricted airspace. Warning lights flashed on her console. Proximity alerts. Restricted zone. She silenced them. Hawk's voice was urgent now. "Viper, you're crossing the line. They'll ground you for this." She didn't care. The shadow was her truth, and she'd chase it to the end. The shadow jet slowed, its silhouette stark against the starlit sky. Viper's F-35 closed the distance, her radar still blind but her eyes sharp. The F-15's tail bore a faded insignia, a coiled rattlesnake just like hers, her breath caught. "Spectre," she whispered, her voice trembling. The shadow jet wagged its wings, a pilot's salute, then climbed sharply, vanishing into a cloud bank. Viper followed, her jet piercing the mist, but when she emerged, the shadow was gone. The sky was empty, silent, save for the hum of her engines. Hawk Raptor pulled alongside, its cockpit canopy glinting. "Viper, you okay?" His voice was soft, almost reverent. She didn't answer, her gaze fixed on the horizon where the shadow had vanished. Her hands shook, not from fear but from something deeper, recognition. The fallen formation wasn't just a maneuver, it was Spectre's final gift, a proof of her innocence. She'd been right all along. The crash wasn't her fault. The sky had shown her. "Nellie's Ghost 2. Returning to base," she said, her voice steady but thick with emotion. The controller acknowledged, but she barely heard it. The desert below was a blur, the mountains silent sentinels. She glanced at her father's insignia, the rattlesnake glaring defiantly. It felt heavier now, a badge of survival. Hawk stayed close, his raptor a quiet guardian. For the first time, she felt his respect, unspoken but palpable. Back at Nellie's, the debrief was tense. The brass grilled her, their faces hard. "No contacts, Lieutenant Cade, explain yourself." Viper stood tall, her flight suit creased but her resolve ironclad. "I saw what I saw, sir, an F-15 executing a fallen formation. It wasn't a glitch." The room fell silent. Colonel Hargrove, a grizzled veteran, leaned forward. "You're telling me you chased a ghost?" Viper met his gaze. "I'm telling you I chased the truth." Hargrove's eyes narrowed, but he didn't push. The telemetry was clean, no contacts, no anomalies. Hawk backed her up hesitantly. "I didn't see it, sir, but Viper's no liar." The room stirred, murmurs rippling. Viper's reputation was a shadow itself, dogged by the 2017 crash, but Hargrove's gaze softened just a fraction. "Dismissed, Lieutenant. We'll review the data." She nodded, stepping into the Nevada night, the stars above a quiet jury. In her quarters, Viper sat on her bunk, staring at the photo of her inspector, taken after a training hop. His grin was wide, hers guarded. She traced the rattlesnake insignia on her sleeve, her father's legacy. The sky had spoken tonight, and she'd listened. The shadow jet wasn't just a ghost, it was a vindication. She wasn't broken. She was Viper. The next morning, the base buzzed with rumors. Viper's flight had sparked debate, some called it madness, others a miracle. She ignored the whispers, strapping into her F-35 for another test. The cockpit was her home, the sky her truth. As she taxied, Hawk's voice came over the radio. "Viper, you good?" She smiled faintly. "Always, Hawk, let's fly." The runway stretched ahead, a path to redemption. The F-35 roared into the sky, its afterburners painting the dawn orange. Viper climbed, the desert falling away. The shadow jet didn't reappear, but its presence lingered, a silent ally. She leveled off at 30,000 feet, the horizon a blade of gold. Her radio crackled. "Ghost 2 Nellies, new mission brief, stand by." She acknowledged, her focus sharp. The sky was clear, but she felt Spectre's presence, his fallen formation etched in her memory. Hawk Raptor joined her, its sleek form a contrast to her battle-scarred F-35. "You think it'll show again?" he asked, his tone stripped of its usual edge. Viper glanced at the empty sky. "Doesn't need to, I know what I saw." He didn't argue. For the first time he flew as her equal, their jets slicing through the morning light in perfect sync. The rattlesnake on her sleeve glinted, a symbol of resilience. Nellies assigned them a new test, a simulated dogfight against stealth drones. Viper took lead, her instincts honed by years of doubt and defiance. The drones were fast, their radar signatures faint, but she tracked them with precision, her F-35 dancing through the sky. Hawk followed her cues, his Raptor a shadow of her own. "Nice moves, Viper," he radioed, a grudging respect in his voice. She didn't respond, her focus on the hunt. The drones scattered, their AI unpredictable, but Viper anticipated their patterns. She'd flown with Spectre long enough to read the sky like a book. "Hawk, break left, target at your 3 o'clock," she called. He complied, his jet rolling smoothly. The drones fell one by one, their wreckage theoretical but satisfying. Nellie's control cheered, a rare sound over the radio. Viper allowed herself a small smile. The sky was hers again. Back on the ground, the mood had shifted. Pilots who'd once mocked her now nodded as she passed. Hawk lingered after the debrief, his usual swagger muted. "You were right about the formation," he said quietly. "I checked the archives. Spectre logged it as his signature move." Viper's throat tightened. She nodded, unable to speak. The rattlesnake insignia burned against her skin, a reminder of who she was. That night she stood on the tarmac, staring at the stars. The desert wind carried the scent of sage and jet fuel. She didn't need the shadow jet to return. Its message was clear. She was no vapor, no ghost. She was Viper, and the sky was her witness. The base slept, but she felt alive, her legacy taking shape in the silence. The weeks that followed were grueling. Nellies pushed Viper into high-stakes tests, her F-35 a proving ground for cutting-edge tech. The shadow jet became a legend, whispered in hangars and mess halls. Some called it a glitch, others a ghost. Viper didn't care. She flew harder, her focus unyielding. The rattlesnake on her sleeve was her talisman, a link to her father, to Spectre, to herself. Hawk became her wingman, their rivalry melting into trust. He didn't mock her anymore, he listened. During a night op, he spotted a faint contrail just like hers. "Viper, you seeing this?" he radioed, his voice low. She scanned the sky, her heart skipping. There it was, a fleeting shimmer, an F-15's outline. It wagged its wings, then vanished. "I see it," she whispered. Hawk didn't question her. He just flew closer, a silent vow. The base commander summoned Viper. "Lieutenant Cade, your ghost chase has stirred up questions. Pentagon's watching." She stood tall, unflinching. "Let them watch, sir. I fly the truth." Hargrove studied her, then nodded. "Keep flying, Viper. We need you." It wasn't absolution, but it was enough. The sky waited, and she was ready. Viper's reputation grew, her name no longer a punchline. Pilots sought her advice, her dogfight tactics now taught in briefings. She trained rookies, her voice steady but kind, echoing Spectre's lessons. The shadow jet appeared sporadically, always at the edge of her vision, its fallen formation a quiet salute. She didn't chase it anymore. She didn't need to. It was part of her, a guardian in the sky. One evening during a solo flight, the shadow jet appeared closer than ever. Its cockpit canopy caught the sunset, revealing no pilot, just an empty seat. Viper's breath caught, but she wasn't afraid. "Thank you, Spectre," she said, her voice soft. The jet rolled once, then climbed into the clouds, its vapor trail a final farewell. Viper flew on, the rattlesnake insignia gleaming, her legacy sealed in the endless sky.